Welcome back to the Mailman Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Merriman. To my right, the lovely, the one and only, the wonderful Sally deFries. Hey, Sal.
What is this voice?
I just got off a call that was like, it was just a good call for washed media. I'll put it that way. So I'm a little hyped.
So you have like a radio voice now?
I do.
Okay.
It's Sally and Brett in the afternoon. Shouts to Wilmon's birthday party.
Lil Mons.
Oh, Lil Mons, that's right.
I made a smoothie before the show.
What's in it?
Little non-spawn, actual spawn.
Okay.
AG1.
Nice.
Coconut milk that I needed to use up for my curry from last week's.
Okay.
Getting a little weird in the fridge.
Yep,
The very cherry frozen fruit mix from Trader Joe's.
Okay.
Some frozen spinach.
We basically have the same smoothie today.
And a banana.
Sub kale for spinach, and we literally had the same smoothie today.
Oh, and you know what? And some nutso butter.
What is nutso butter?
I think it's called nutso. It's like a bunch of different types of nut butter and with chia seeds. And so I keep getting like a little chia seed. So if I have them stuck in my teeth, I like taste them coming up.
That's fair. I go flax because they're a little bigger. Kind of like easier to get out of the crevasses.
Yeah. Chia seeds will fuck your teeth up. I mean, like not in a bad way. They'll just like get in your shit.
Great for fiber though. I'm trying to think of, I don't think I'd intake too many chia seeds, to be honest with you. I'm more of a flax guy. All over the place.
I enjoy a chia seed like pudding.
Chia seed pudding?
Yeah.
Do you like tapioca pudding?
I never really had tried tapioca.
Yeah.
But it's essentially that kind of same thing. I actually really like the texture. The chia seed kombuchas are like really fun to drink.
How do you put
basically make a kombucha and
with
put a bunch of chia seeds in there, and then they like get gelatinous.
Oh.
It's fun. It's a nice. I like that texture. I don't know why. It's weird. I think it freaks a lot of people out, but
it does.
I don't mind it.
Speaking of Lil Mon, Fritz was dripping today. Just wanted to call that out on the TL.
First day of school.
As a naive 28-year-old with no children, isn't Fritz less than 2?
Yes.
How does he go to school?
He goes to what's called like a Mother's Day Out program. It's like a preschool.
Okay.
It's not even like a real preschool. They sent home like a curriculum today. And it was like, the color of the week is red. And you're like, okay, like that's all the curriculum. Like I'm not expecting him to learn anything here.
Are you
I'm just trying to socialize him
for the school board position at Fritz's preschool yet?
It was a fucking social scene out there this morning, I'll tell you that.
Oh, I can imagine. Will
and I show up. And he did have a shirt on that had his name on it that had like school supplies coming out of a truck. You can see it on my Instagram. That Lily had gotten him.
Nice.
And my nephew the same shirt, but they go on different days of the week. And so we're out there. I'm like, we got to get a picture of him, first day of school. We're like the only people who didn't have like one of the chalkboards. It's like Sarah's first day, 2-year-old class, this school. Favorite color is red. Loves kiwi. Like, I was like, I don't.
Fritz's would be tight, though. Fritz's would be like, loves Matt's El Rancho queso.
So, yeah, we did not. I didn't have my shit together. Didn't do a chalkboard picture thing. So, like, now I fucked that up. So, like, the next however many years, 16 years that he goes to school, like, I'm not going to have.
Mom, what the frick?
Yeah.
Where's my first day of school chalkboard pic?
We barely did the, month pictures. Like I could barely talk Will into that. He was not thrilled about that. And I was like, we just need to at least do that.
Just a couple.
Yeah.
You know what? I'd be like, hey, we missed 1 month. Should we just
I would miss, and I would be like 2 weeks late. So then
you just ask Will to Photoshop Fritz like a little smaller.
Yeah.
Can you make him like a little shorter?
But yeah, he did fine. He didn't do swimmingly. He's really, really attached to me. Like really. So when we dropped him off, I didn't even look back. I just handed him to the teacher and sprinted.
Because you knew it was.
And then when I got there to pick him up, they were like, we had to hold him most of the time. And I was like, oh, okay, sorry. He's quite attached to me.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the school will socialize him a little.
Sure. Are him and Bane, your nephew, do they recognize each other?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think now they do.
That's cool. He's like, oh, what's up, player?
Yeah. Very soon they'll like be little shits.
They'll be boys.
Currently, they like just play around each other, kind of, or like take the toy from the other one.
Oh, it's like a little. Like,
Yeah.
no, that's mine, dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's
second tangent I have for you. Are you familiar? I saw this account today because it has my last name on it.
Felicity Merriman.
Yes.
It's like
are you
one of my
familiar
favorite
with American Girl
accounts.
dolls?
Yeah. Is this your shower thought, or are we just doing like
No, I
upfront
had
shower
to.
thoughts now?
Yeah, we're doing shower thoughts in the beginning
Okay.
this time.
That's fine.
This account, which my sister loved American Girl dolls growing up,
Mhm.
and because Felicity Merriman shares my last name, and she's like the
She's like the OG hot
yeah
American Girl doll. She was like rich.
HBIC head bitch in charge
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah.
I think actually Kit is now the head bitch in charge. If you're familiar.
I'm not.
So each of them are from like a time period.
Right.
I think Felicity.
She's like the 1700s.
I think she was the Victorian age.
Yeah.
American Girl.
Gotta brush up on my colonial history.
I think because I think Kirsten is from the like colonialism age of like basically like, or she might have been like on the Mayflower or some shit. They all had like stories and outfits and like shit that they did. So like each of their bedroom sets looked a little different. And then you could like buy books that like told their story and stuff.
We had the books.
Felicity was like the OG Victorian like rich girl. And then you had Kirsten. Molly was like right around World War II, I think.
I thought you were going to say right wing.
No, she was like right post World War II.
Got it. Okay.
And then they added like Josephine. Now there's like a ton. There's a bunch of them.
Randy's eyes are glossing over. He's like, "Ooh, American Girl dot talk." Like he doesn't have like Yu-Gi-Oh cards still in his basement.
Became like a big deal like in the last month because they started making American Girl doll memes
on Felicity Merriman.
The Felicity Merriman is like the original account. It's like two girls. It's a girl who lives in DC and her friend who I think like maybe lives in Philadelphia or something.
Okay.
And the one who lives in DC, Barrett, is like very like shows her face and stuff like that. And the other girl is like pretty anonymous, but they're like best friends. And they started doing memes and then they kind of blew up this summer. They still have some really hilarious memes because they're very, very specific pop culture events.
Mm-hmm.
I think I actually talked about this on Scaries, but some of them are really funny and they're really shareable because you're just like, oh, this one is definitely mine. Because I think people just write in and they're like, we need an American Girl doll that whatever. Literally the last post I tagged other people in because it's me.
It's meme culture. What is it?
Meme culture. We need to. Oh, hold on. Let me find it. It's something about reading smut novels on her Kindle. That's just my whole life right now.
Why? What is a smut novel?
Just like romance with like a little bit of softcore porn, probably.
Okay, like not 50 Shades of Grey type of stuff.
No, like yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never read an erotic novel myself.
It's very cheesy. It's very escapist. I feel like it's, again, also talked about this on Scaries. Like when I'm like really sad about the state of the world and I just like need to unplug, like
you dive into a smut novel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, if you're me, you're like, I feel good because I'm reading. So, but at the same time, like maybe the writing isn't that phenomenal. So you got to like mix in like a nonfiction or even, no offense against fiction. I like romance is like my favorite genre, but like sometimes you got to like go a little like Pride and Prejudice and then go back to the smut. And you just can't go full smut.
It's like going reality TV and then like a documentary, right? Like you kind of mix in the
some of these novels are like Love Island for your brain, but like in,
on pages.
In a Kindle. Yeah.
There you go. The more you know, Randy. I feel like books overall kind of having maybe a renaissance.
It's because of book talk.
What's book talk?
It's like TikTok where people like recommend books.
Oh,
so
geez.
That's
There's a
like
TikTok for everything.
That's how you like, or Bookstagram is like how people.
Oh, I hate that.
Find new, like that's how books get popular now.
Do you like my idea of Rick talk?
What's Rick talk?
It's just guys doing dad stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like Randy was painting a wall the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I put it on. I was going to put it on Rick talk.
He was painting the wall when I came in.
Dude just can't stop painting walls.
He even had his paint shorts on. He switched out of his paint shorts.
He has changed 3 times today.
Do you not produce in your paint shorts? Okay, he's shaking his head now.
You want to do some questions?
Yeah.
First,
stop talking about me.
What is the Mail-In Podcast? Well, we answer your questions. That's what we're about to do right now. Please subscribe on iTunes, follow on Spotify, hit the hotline number, leave a voicemail, 888-362-MAIL. That's 888-362-6245. Or you can write in the link in the Twitter bio at Mail-In Podcast. Sally, you ready?
Yeah.
This one, I fired up for these questions today. A couple really good ones.
Yeah.
Let's get going. Hey, guys. With fall pretty much upon us, what are you doing this year to get into the spirit for the first time post-pandemic? Now, first off, I have a problem with this. I don't think we're quite post-pandemic yet. There's still hundreds of people dying every day.
I was actually going to argue that I felt like last fall was the first fall post-pandemic.
That's true.
If you live in Texas, you've been post-pandemic since May 2020.
May of 2020. I remember I had my birthday dinner at a restaurant, and I was like, oh, that's over.
Yeah.
May of 2020.
Maybe August 2020, because we did have another spike, but that's beside the point. How
are you getting ready for fall, Sally?
It's I love this question because I do love fall. What would you say the season you most look forward to is? Fall, probably?
It's fall in a landslide. It's literally not close. Winter is number 2. I hate summer because it's too hot down here. I miss Saratoga summer. And spring is just
I would say I know for sure spring is the season I least look forward to. I kind of don't care. But fall and summer for me are pretty tied. Okay. I think fall edges it out a little bit. But there's a moment in March and April where you're psyched for summer.
That's
and
fair.
Those first that May, first week of June are fun. And then you're okay, I'm over this.
It's very hot.
Fall, I feel especially as a Texan, you look forward to for so long. And then it doesn't happen until November 15th.
Yeah. That's my dad's birthday, by the way, November 15th. It lasts 2 weeks in Texas. And then the winter is weird too because it's 62 but humid, and you're kind of this is
the
cold.
Winter is a fall essentially,
right? But it's not crispy fall.
It's not crispy.
Oh,
there's a couple. You get a couple crispy days.
There's a couple, and they are life changing. When you walk out your door and it's crispy in Texas, which happens very rarely.
Yeah,
it is. You savor it. You savor the moment. You savor the flavor. What I'm excited though, because this question made me think about, I'm going home for my dad's celebration of life in the last week of September.
Okay.
It's the first time I'm going to be in Saratoga in the fall. I can't wait in a decade since I had graduated high school.
Yeah.
Because I played baseball for a year at Northeastern. We had co-op, which is full-time. You don't really go home for fall breaks or anything. So the first time I've been there in September, October in a decade.
Wow.
And I cannot wait, Sally.
Will the leaves be changing yet?
They will. They will. They won't be peak, but that's okay.
See, we're going to Harbor 2 weeks later. And I think
that'll be money.
We were worried that we were going to hit it a week late, but now we're thinking via the forecast, aka Will's dad, that we're going to hit at peak time.
Will's dad strikes me as a farmer's almanac guy.
Yeah.
Also, it's been a very hot summer, which usually pushes it back a week or two.
Yeah.
So
we hit in 2020, mid-pandemic, I guess you could say. We went to Aspen in the fall, and we hit right at color change, and it was awesome.
Aspen's interesting. They don't have the variety of colors that the Northeast does, but the golden aspen trees, they give a different perspective because they have the white trunks, and it gives a whole new perspective on it. It's beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous.
I mean, obviously the fits,
that was number 1 on my list.
Yeah.
Is fall clothing.
It's hard though in Texas because you're you just want to buy some sweaters, and then you're I can't keep buying this shit that I'm gonna not be able to wear for months and not have I also lose steam of wearing all the fall tones. You know what I'm saying? The burnt oranges, the browns, the whatever.
Well, I feel it's also tied
after
to football
Christmas, and then you're well, now I'm but that's when you can wear the chunky sweaters. Is in January.
That's true. I bought did some retail therapy,
Mhm.
bereavement therapy kind of retail
Yeah.
situation. And I bought a new Buffalo Bills sweater,
Nice.
vintage,
Yeah.
like 83, 84 season when Marv Levy was wearing the Bills across the chest. Really cool. I can't wait to break it out.
Um, my other thing is, and I know this is like insanely basic of me, but I really do enjoy pumpkin, like so
Yeah.
much. Pumpkin pie is my favorite pie, hands down.
It,
Maybe key lime pie,
is it
close
crazy
second.
of me to like a pumpkin pie that doesn't taste too like pumpkin pulpy? The more condensed pumpkin there
You want it
is,
like custardy.
I want it more like cinnamon. I mean, I like
Yeah.
cinnamon donuts or pumpkin muffins.
Mhm.
To me, taste so much better than like pureed pumpkin, like
Yeah,
homemade.
I
I think it's
get it.
probably just sugar and the spices they use. But are you familiar with apple cider donuts?
I am familiar with apple cider donuts.
You don't
Yeah.
have them a lot down here.
Yeah.
They like exist, but they're the kind of the processed kind.
Yeah.
You get up to Saratoga or Harbor, I guess.
Yeah, we're gonna have some in Michigan, I
Yeah,
think.
wreck a couple homemade cider
Like, I
donuts.
wish that we were in a situation in Texas where you could, like, crush some ciders in the fall. Like,
Oh,
I mean, you
cider with a
can.
little bit of like bourbon in there
Yeah.
or whiskey.
Like,
Look out.
I don't know if I've told this story, but we've technically done Harbor Springs in the fall, quote unquote, because we've gone for Thanksgiving a couple times. But it's at that
Mhm.
point it's already been snowing. It's winter
Right.
there. Which also brings me to my next point. That's when like fall in Texas is really peaking, which I
Mhm.
think is why Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday by far.
Okay. That's cool. I didn't think I knew that about you.
Thanksgiving is my number one favorite holiday,
Really?
way above everything else. I do love Christmas like every other person, but like I
Sure.
think I'm more of a Christmas Eve gal, like everyone else pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Like
I probably am too. I mean, I kind of
like if
pack
you
I
really think about
condense.
Christmas, like the excitement is on Christmas Eve and then Christmas morning you're like, okay, which is why
Yeah.
we have started traveling on Christmas because it's like really chill and
Yeah,
you're
you
like,
kind of
"Ah,
get
there's nothing. We
yeah.
already did all the stuff."
You kind of get the funds like out of the way
Yeah.
by 10 a.m.
But like November, I think is my favorite month of the year.
My favorite is the 6 weeks usually between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
When Christmas lights are up, there's anticipation. You're excited to see family, like all
I
the stuff going on.
November, yeah, love it. I actually am not a huge Halloween person,
Really,
but I do
I would have
like
said
October as
I
a month.
okay. Speaking of the Merriman Spooky Monster Bash, Nightmare 2
Mhm.
invites went out today.
Okay.
So if you want to come, you're invited.
Oh, you should tell me because I might need to change my little call schedule around because I think
It
I
is
put that I would
the
take call that day.
October 29th,
Okay. Yeah.
whatever that Saturday is on Halloween.
Okay. I'll fix it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I gotta start thinking of Fritz's Halloween
You
costume.
do. It's big. I got mine locked in. Locked in. Can't wait.
Okay.
You know, I might wear that night
What?
pair of Rothys.
Does it go with your costume though?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Rothys.
Well, you'll be comfortable.
Rothys are I will be very comfortable because Rothys are my like everyday, upscale, casual, can dress them up, can dress them down type of shoes, Sally. I
Yeah.
have the bone ones with the gum sole, little blue accent on them.
Mm-hmm.
I've worn them to weddings and like a kind of not necessarily a wedding reception, but I've worn them like it's like a rehearsal dinner,
Yeah.
kind of like almost formal situation. And I've worn them with shorts, worn them to the beach because you can get them dirty and throw them right in the wash.
Yeah.
They're that good. They're that comfortable. And they look that good too. You're a big Rothys fan.
I think I'm gonna be bringing some Rothys to Europe with me.
Whoa.
Because I can only bring a couple pairs of shoes. We have talked about, or Will has
Okay.
talked about this, but we are carrying on for 10 days, and I
Mhm.
need like a utility shoe that I can like exactly you said, like first of all, be comfortable walking in,
Yep.
and also like dress up or down.
Exactly. And that's where Rothys is so freaking perfect. Say goodbye to the break-in period you usually have to go through with other shoes. They're soft, flexible material combined with wildly comfortable insoles make them one of the most wearable shoes right out of the box. They're knit with 100% recycled materials too, Sally. Even the sneaker laces are made from recycled plastic water bottles. Are you kidding me? No wonder Rothy's best-selling men's shoes get a 5-star review from almost every customer. Top it all off. Here we go. The driving loafer was just named one of Time's 100 best inventions of 2021.
Wow.
Huge. Famously, I was the Time 2006 Person of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
So they called it an ideal shoe for the late pandemic era. How about that? Step into something fresh with the summer edit from Rothys. With new products for men and women, you can snag shoes for yourself or someone you love. For a limited time, get $20 off your first purchase at rothys.com/mail. That's $20 off at rothys.com/MAIL. Next one, Sally.
Let's do it.
Brett, this is more a question for you, but I guess if Sally has some experience, I'd love to hear from her as well. I'm dipping my toe into the gambling waters for the first time since my state has legalized sports betting. Fresh off your financial spreadsheet last week, shouts, I was wondering how you manage football seasons from a budgeting point of view. I'm already riding with my college team, Go Tigers. That can mean like 9 different schools, can it? Mizzou, LSU,
Yeah.
Clemson,
It's a few.
Auburn. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. But I'm looking forward to sweating out a Hawaii game at midnight this year. You much of a sports gambler, Sally?
No,
Much of a gambler in general?
I'm really not a gambler. I do dabble in some sports gambling during March Madness.
Okay.
Win in Vegas.
Win in Vegas. More than just like filling out brackets, right?
Yeah, I love like a 3-thing parlay.
Oh, a
You
3-thing parlay.
What's the term for that? Like a
3-leg parlay. I like it.
three leg parlay.
So it's like Duke to win, North Carolina to win, and like Boston College to win.
Yeah,
Plus
or like
whatever.
the over or whatever. Yeah.
Ooh. No,
I've never hit one.
It's really fun when it happens.
Yeah.
The first rule of gambling is only bet what you can afford to lose. That's the main thing about gambling responsibly. So please don't bet the rent, especially if you hit a couple games to begin with and you're like, oh, I'm good at this. It's easy. It's not. And the house usually always wins. But it's fun. It's a way, sports gambling, especially during college football season, is a way for you to be interested in a team like Hawaii that plays at 11 o'clock at night and normally you wouldn't really throw on or whatever. Or, like NC State.
Mhm.
I have no affiliation to the school, but it's fun watching them, +4 at North Carolina. Not this year. They'll probably be like 20-point favorites, but it's the only thing I'll say is please, please, please don't gamble more than you can afford to lose.
Yeah.
Just make it fun. It's fun to have a bunch of teams that you're waiting to play on Saturday with. And shouts to your state for opening up. I know Texas doesn't seem far away on the gambling front, sports gambling.
Yeah, I don't know.
Does Will gamble much?
Not really. I think he did when he lived in Michigan for a little bit, but I don't know. I'm kind of glad that he doesn't. Cause like I think that it would like piss me off that we were losing money. That's why I don't gamble. I can't take losing.
Got it. You're competitive in nature.
I'm competitive, and I also am like, this is my deal. When we go to Vegas, I'm like, I will literally gamble like $100 and then be done. Cause not that I can't afford more, but I'm like, here's the thing. I could go buy a purse, and that's a sure thing. I'm gonna take that home with me.
Shouts to Miguel. Sure thing.
Yeah. But I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars and then not see it.
Yeah, and not see it. I get it. It's just put a manageable amount per week if you want to do it. If you don't, no worries, and gamble on stuff that you understand.
Yeah.
Maybe not doing 3-leg parlays and like Bundesliga soccer.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's some degenerate stuff. But have fun. Bet what you can afford to lose. If you bet at all, and don't get in a hole, I guess is my advice.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. As long as you are just like, it's money that you have that's extra, put it aside, gamble with it, whatever. But don't be so addicted that you can't get out of it.
Brett and Sally. I was listening to an older episode of the Mail-In from the Dylan and Sally days, and the topic of comparing yourself to others came up. The advice was essentially to stay in your lane and focus on yourself. I love that advice, but I'm having a very hard time following it on the course of my wife and I's infertility journey. We're about 2 years in at this point, and in that time, about 5 kids have been born or announced in our group of friends. At this point, we're losing friends because we can barely relate to them anymore, all while struggling with painful injections and invasive procedures. I guess my question is just how would you guys recommend we deal with losing friends over this and feeling like we're falling behind? Thanks in advance. Sally, a little bit of a heavier one
Yeah.
than sports gambling here.
First of all, I'm really sorry that you're going through this.
As am I.
I think that I can speak a lot on this topic. I haven't struggled with infertility myself, but I have had many friends that did. I
Sure.
worked at a fertility clinic
Mhm.
for a couple of years. Still see a lot of the same doctors and do a lot of OB stuff. So um, I don't think I realized. I mean, I knew before I got pregnant with Fritz what a struggle it was
Mhm.
for some people. My friends weren't really there yet. And but when I worked at the fertility center and we were doing like IVF and embryo transfers and all of those things, I watched some of the same couples come in over and over again. It's like really, really stressful. It takes a toll on you and your marriage and your wife
Mhm.
and friendships. And I think that that was one of the biggest things that I had to navigate when I got pregnant was um first of all, you're so excited for yourself, but you also know that like you've got friends who are going through this journey that are it's going to be really hard for them to relate and be happy for you and things like that.
Sure.
Um that being said, I also understand that I don't think any friends who are having babies or getting pregnant easily or whatever, are ever trying to do it in a way that's like throwing it in someone's face.
No, no. I don't think they ever lose like like empathy from that
Right.
point of view.
But it is very easy. And I didn't get this again until I had a child. Like, to once you have a kid, only talk to people about your kid shit
Yeah.
because it just takes over your life, like a
Mhm.
lot of other things. Um, and when a bunch of my friends had kids in a wave and I hadn't, Will and I weren't even married yet, I was like, okay, we get it. Like, you want to talk about nap schedules? I don't give a shit. And then postpartum is a journey in itself, and you need to surround yourself with people that also understand what you're going through. So I'm not defending the friends at
Right.
all, but I also think it's really easy to get caught up in your own shit.
Mhm.
In general, that is like an across the board. I've said a million times, like, you never know what somebody else is going through, but everyone is so self-absorbed that we only care like what's in our, direct.
Immediate point of view.
Exactly. Um, all that aside, um, it's really, really hard. And I think having had a child now and being close to people who have struggled with infertility for a long time
Mhm.
or have had miscarriages, um, especially as a woman, I think it's a little easier to connect. Like, probably your wife's friends, her girlfriends probably understand it a little bit easier.
Mhm.
I don't think as a male, like, I don't know that Will fully understands the struggle that some of our friends are going through because he hasn't had to go through it.
No, I like I definitely don't. And I never like growing up, you're never like as a guy, I don't think you're ever really conditioned unless it's like immediately,
Right.
in your family or something like that. You're never conditioned about like infertility up until you're like in college doesn't even exist really in a
Mhm.
in a male like education, I guess.
Which is, like, kind of a shame because I
Yeah.
think, um, again, as a woman, I think that there was stuff that I wish somebody would have freaking told me before I was, like, 28, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
about my own body, like, or, like, how pregnancy was gonna be or how raising a child was gonna be. And there's stuff that men should know about too, okay? Which is why you
Mhm.
should see a urologist, like, as part of your, like, being healthy daily checkup, like, check your sperm, people. Like, check your motility. There is a lot of, I mean, this is like a whole other podcast. There's probably tons of podcasts out there actually that talk about this, but
Mhm.
there are things that we as people can do early in our 20s to help. But like, again, why are you going to think about that if it's never happened to you? And then one day, and you assume like getting pregnant should be easy. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, it's not. We
Right.
like spend decades of our life trying to not get pregnant. And
And
like,
then
and then,
sometimes you try and it's
and
like,
then you
oh,
try. And it's really disheartening given the current climate of shit going on to like
yeah.
be worried about you're trying to conceive and then like other people. It's a lot. It's a lot in 2022 to be going through
And I
fertility
think
stuff.
it's a lot, and you're never you're never taught it. There's no like post college class or service or anything that feels like you're ever like, here's the pamphlet on
Mhm.
infertility and like what to expect and getting pregnant. And there's like, I'm sure there's, if you have to go seek it out, there are resources available,
Right.
but you're never like, you don't, it's not a class you're required to take type of thing. So I feel for these people. It
This
sucks.
is another like a side PSA. I think when people are in a relationship going to get married, especially, that fertility is something that you should talk about. Like, obviously, do we want to have kids?
Hmm.
That's step one. But then it is if something like that. And I tried to have this conversation with Will whenever I was working at the fertility clinic, and he
Hmm.
was like, we don't need to worry about that now. I'm like, well, we need to like think about it.
Yeah.
Um, Talk about it beforehand so that you can like set some parameters of like, here's how long we're willing to go through this because it is very mentally and physically taxing.
Sure.
Here's where like what our stopping point is. Like, would we be comfortable having a surrogate? Would we be comfortable just bagging that and adopting?
Hmm.
Those are conversations that I think are important for people to have too, because sometimes people get so wrapped up in the fertility journey, they don't stop it's very much like one track, like we have to get pregnant, we have to get pregnant, and you don't stop and you're like, maybe we need to like take a moment.
Hmm.
And I'm not telling the person who asked this question to do that.
Sure.
I'm just saying in general, if you're in a relationship that's serious and you're thinking about marrying this person or you are married, it's a conversation you should have beforehand.
Yeah.
Um, Number 2, a lot of people are going through this. There are support groups. Like I know that a lot of my like friends who are going through it right now have found people that either via the office that they're going to or like Instagram, tons of especially on social media of people like being a lot more vocal about their infertility.
Hmm.
But I think really the key to like finding joy for other people, being happy for other people when things are happening that you want for yourself
Hmm.
is really being okay with like at peace with what's going on with you. And that's hard
Yeah.
when you are trying to have a baby and you can't. And so I think number 1 is probably talking to some of these friends because I don't think that any friend is like purposely trying to make you feel bad.
No, it's not. It's definitely not on purpose. And that was what I was wanted to bring up is communicate with these people and just say,
Right.
hey, I know you're not trying to do this, but like, can we talk about our problems with it with you guys? And I'm sure there's some. They'll be like, oh my god, yes, of course.
Yeah. I think it and it's like it's a little more nuanced than that because I think most people it totally depends. Some people are really comfortable talking about it
Yeah,
and some
true.
people aren't because there's a lot of like stigma and shame associated with infertility, which again, we shouldn't be doing.
Hmm.
It's 2022. Like women are having babies older now. Like this is a super common problem.
Hmm.
Kind of the same thing with miscarriage, but I think as a woman, it's like innately um put into you that like you should be able to bear children.
Sure.
And when you can't do that, it feels like a direct knock on like your whole self-worth.
Hmm.
And same for being a guy. Like if something's wrong with your sperm or something like that, like
Too many Mountain
everything that you've
Dews.
like been told you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So maybe not even talking about the fertility stuff, but even being a little bit more friends being a little bit more cognizant. So like sometimes it's hard when your friends want to go out with you and then they're like, well, we have to go to dinner at 5 because we have all the children.
Yeah. And it's like,
So
yeah.
whoever you're close to, if you're like feeling them drift apart, be like, hey, can y'all get a babysitter? We'd like love to go to a dinner with y'all, like
Yeah.
just adults. I I have been more cognizant of that now that with my friends who are struggling, being like, let's not bring Fritz around.
Hmm.
Let's not talk about children. Let's not talk about the miscarriage. Let's not talk about this because it's that boundary needed to be created. And one of my friends literally told me that. She was like, it's really hard when you and my other friend who works with me in OB or in all the like doing C-section stuff to hear all your stories because it's really triggering for me. That's okay to tell people. It's okay to set a boundary with people. Like, I love you. I want to hang out with you, but we cannot talk about Rhodes and Fritz's like eating routine. I don't care.
Yeah.
You don't have to be rude about it. Like, but like
Right, yeah, yeah.
it's triggering for me because I'm currently trying to get to that place in my life. I think that's okay to tell your friends.
Yeah, I think that I almost encourage that in a
Yeah.
way, just because I think that's a really, it's a direct way to kind of get there. And instead of it being passive aggressive or awkward, or if you feel bad about this and then you lose friends and you're like, well, I can't really get them back because now it's too late or something like that.
Right.
But I love that idea
I think comparison is the thief
of
of joy.
joy.
Wow,
Yep.
that took a while. Please know that your friends who are having children or getting pregnant or, on their fourth kid
Mhm.
with no issues have other shit they're dealing with that you're totally unaware of, and that their situation is totally different from yours. And it's okay to like want what they have, but know that they're not doing it as a slight to you.
Yeah.
And it can feel sometimes like it is. It's
Mhm.
like it feels very personal when people are like announcing shit.
100%.
But know that like their joy can coincide with your joy. Their joy can coincide with your grief.
Mhm.
And it's really important as you're growing up in any situation when you're comparing yourself to somebody else, their battle is different from yours. And if they have what you want, that's okay to be jealous or envious, but it also like shouldn't rob you of your joy.
Totally agree. Cosign. Cosign, cosign,
I'm
cosign.
sorry you're going through that.
I am sorry as well. Um, no easy way to pivot out of that, but I'm going to.
Okay.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at Vizzy. Vizzy Hard Seltzer. Summer is coming to an end, but that does not mean you enjoying a nice, cold, crisp Vizzy Hard Seltzer has to, Sally. Whether you're gearing up and cozying up for cuffing season or hosting a tailgate that will be the envy of the parking lot, pass the vibe. Pass the vibe. Check, excuse me, with a case of bold, delicious Vizzy Hard Seltzer. You know I am all about the mimosas right now, Sally.
Well, mimosas, I was about to bring up the mimosas, are like a perfect like game day. You have actual game day on the TV. You're having a Vizzy mimosa. You're about to go to a tailgate, or you're at the tailgate because Texas is going to be playing a lot of 11 a.m. games.
They
Okay.
do. They really do.
And like, I'm not ready to pound a beer or even like a full vodka at any point, or even a margarita at 10 a.m.
No.
Like, I got to ease in. Okay.
But Vizzy mimosas?
And that's like the perfect,
Perfect ease in.
yeah.
Perfect ease in drink. And Vizzy mimosas, like we say, have the refreshing taste of real orange juice. Perfect for daytime sipping. It comes in strawberry orange, pineapple orange, peach orange, and pomegranate orange, of which I'll be honest with you, Randy, peach is my favorite.
Peach is my favorite.
Of that grouping. Peach is
My favorite, actually, this should have gone into like my fall memory excitement thing. The shampoo effect you get, like when you're like getting up for an 11 a.m. game, you have a 9 a.m. like just a little beverage because you're gonna go tailgate.
Oh yeah.
And you were already a little drunk the night before. So you have just like one Vizzy mimosa and you just start cruising at a
Bang, bang.
perfect level of like, I'm very happy.
Absolutely.
And then you can coast on those all day long, baby.
They're the perfect coasting beverage.
Yeah.
Perfect coasting beverage, no matter which coast you're on. Like that, Randy. Vizzy Hard Seltzer, flavors for every vibe. Stock up on Vizzy Hard Seltzer and show some love for the show. Here's how to get yours. Go to VizzyHardSeltzer.com/washed to find Vizzy near you. That's VizzyHardSeltzer.com/washed. And to hear about the latest flavor drops and more, sign up at VizzyHardSeltzer.com/subscribe. You must be 21 plus to enjoy. Please celebrate responsibly on behalf of the Molson Coors Beverage Company in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Next one, Sally. Here we go. Hey, guys. First time, long time. Shouts to writing in. I've recently made the decision to eat healthy. I had the doc tell me it's probably a good idea, and I've been a takeout person as long as I can remember. A quick Google search feels incredibly overwhelming, and I was wondering if there are any basic tenets that y'all adhere to. I wouldn't call myself the healthiest eater, but I'm
Mhm.
also on this more of a kick, I guess.
Health journey.
Health journey, yeah. It is overwhelming. I think at first, if you're like, hey, I'm gonna go totally healthy because you Google this, it's like this diet and that diet and paleo and keto and
Uh-huh.
processed and this and that and the other thing. It's like, where do you start?
So, this was me 6 years ago, when I did my Whole30,
Mhm.
and I'm not saying that anybody needs to do Whole30, but, this was easier, like, if you kind of pick a lane of shit you wanna do,
Okay.
and then you just find a bunch of Instagram accounts and just start following those.
Healthy
Uh,
Food Crush, I think, is one of them that I like.
I really like Defined Dish Shouts,
Oh, I have their cookbook. Her
local
cookbook, I guess.
local Texas girl. Um, I also like this guy named Ronnie who's called Primal Gourmet. He does like a lot of grilling stuff. No Crumbs Left. Terry, my girl from Chicago. She's like a 60-year-old lady. She's
Nice.
great.
Yeah, don't get like
Um,
the Paula Deen cookbook.
yeah. But then there's like Pinch of Yum is also like one of my favorites. She's
Okay.
a true Midwesterner and she'll have like some like healthy stuff, but then like some not healthy
Some
stuff,
buttery
which is
stuff.
fine.
Yeah.
But following those things and then just starting to make recipes, the more you cook, the better you get at it,
And
if that makes
the better you eat.
right.
And this is not like non-spawn here, but HelloFresh has made me a much healthier eater because you realize that you like
You mean Green Chef?
HelloFresh and Green
Oh,
Chef,
yeah, both of
which
them.
are both they're both the same company, so you can say both. They
Oh,
like
okay.
one bought the other, something like that. Um, but one of those subscription services has really helped me as far as especially with vegetables because
Yeah.
you realize you're like a lot of things you like to eat or try new things like basmati rice or
Mhm.
couscous or like roasted carrot. Like they have a lot of ways of getting vegetables in there that taste good still that you didn't really like you would never think to buy
Yeah.
until you're trying to eat a little bit healthier. So my first suggestion would be to hop on a one of those services that sends you the ingredients for each meal. You can kind of
Mhm.
pick the meals and choose the meals and learn how to cook, especially if you're a takeout guy, which I was too in New York. Like that's just
Yeah.
what you do. You're a takeout person. Um, and then two, an easy way, not an easy way, but limiting processed stuff has been sort of my current like super focus.
Mhm.
Like you can do sodium and sugar and carbs and the weight loss thing is carbs in, calories out is kind of all that matters really. But mine has been limiting processed things.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good way to start. And
Whole30 was good for me because I felt like eliminating pretty much everything and then bringing
besides
it
like bone
back
broth,
was like helped me figure out like what I was reacting to.
sure.
But more so than anything, made me realize, like, if I actually get shit at the store and, like, am forced to cook it, that I can make a meal. Like, a lot of the times when we get takeout, it's not because we don't have food, it's pure laziness. Like
Yeah, I've been there too. It
and it
still
teaches
happens. Yeah.
you so there like, this is like Will and I do something where we, like, find a recipe, then we groundhog it till we just, like, get so sick of it. And but there's like a couple things that I would make, especially when we're like trying to be healthy. Like we would do a lot of hash stuff. So we would do like a sweet potato, like that we roasted, and then with like ground beef and some like, sauteed peppers and onions, whatever.
Mhm.
Basically, that's what I call like my stuff on stuff saute. You
Yeah,
just
it's
like
like the stir fry kinda deal.
yeah, but, like, what you do is you just, like, roast a shit ton of vegetables, which, again, roasting is vegetables is super easy. You
It's a
literally, like
hack. It's such a hack.
you set the oven to 425,
Mhm.
you toss that shit in some olive oil, spice it up. This is the trick, though, Brent,
Hit me.
okay?
Hit me.
When you're roasting vegetables, you need to give them space because vegetables sweat, and then that creates steam in the oven. So if you want your vegetables to be crispy, you can't have them all crowded together on like a roasting pan. You need to have space to set
Okay.
them apart.
I got you.
Okay. Another
Okay.
tip, especially if you're trying to get like crispy potatoes
Air frying?
or, well, an air fryer is great, but like crispy potatoes or Brussels sprouts or something
Okay.
like that, is to get the roasting pan, cover it in foil or whatever, or you don't have to cover it in foil. It just makes it easier to clean up. Put the oil in, stick it in the oven while it's heating up. And
Okay.
then when it
Okay.
gets to 425, 450, you pull it out, put the vegetables on, and like the searing hot oil will help
Oh,
make like
okay.
a sear on the vegetables,
I see. I see what
especially
you're
on
saying.
potatoes. Um,
Picking up what you're putting down there,
Literally
Sal.
like roasted shit, roasted vegetables. Just make bowls. Like this is like our we Will and I just make a shit ton of bowls. You like put some spinach in a thing. My new like current thing that I'm groundhogging is green cabbage,
Oh, okay.
just shredded with a mandolin.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put some roasted veggies or whatever you want, and then you put some sort of protein on there. Uh, you know, we are not plant-based people. We try to do it like one day a week.
Yeah.
Um,
I used to shred the mandolin back in high school.
yeah, love that.
Um, yeah, I think we can get into the weeds on meat and pork and beef and stuff like
But
that,
like
but no
find
need
something you're
to.
good at cooking.
Yeah.
Like we would just make like chicken breasts and then like
Oh,
shred them up. That shit would go on everything for like a week.
for me, it's rice bowls.
Yeah.
I am all in on bowl making now. Love rice, like brown rice, jasmine rice, even white rice sometimes, and um, veggies, protein, spice, carrots, whatever, and just
And
throwing
then
it
the
in.
way
And
that
I'm
you
I'm
make that
absolutely
shit
killing
taste
those.
good for yourself. Cause like I think I learned to cook and I was like, this is okay for me,
Hmm.
but it's not great for other people, I'm sure. You need to one, be seasoning stuff properly. So you want to add salt and pepper as you go. If you're making salads and you're like adding cucumbers or tomatoes or something like that, salt and pepper, all of that shit before you add it to the salad. That will help with the
I like
flavor.
that.
But then like toss some sauce up on there. I'm talking sriracha. I'm talking pesto.
Totally. And there's
Just
stuff you can do. Like, for example, I love soy sauce. Who doesn't love soy sauce? There's a healthy alternative. Not healthy, cocoa aminos, right? Coconut aminos. There
mhm.
are a lot of things that you like, perhaps, like buffalo sauce or Alfredo. A lot of things have sort of a healthier counterpart. And you can just start buying things like that, and
Mhm.
it's less processed usually, it's less bad for you, and gives a similar taste. In a lot of cases, like, close enough to be indifferent to a change.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of ways to do it. I don't have any perfect starting point other than I think it's a good idea to get on a subscription food service where you kinda know exactly what you're making, and then turn that into once you kinda get the hang of it a little bit, turn that into buying groceries. I'm not like a meal prepper guy, but knowing what you're gonna eat that week
Yeah.
and kinda plan it out. I think planning your food, planning your dinners, um, makes you more, I don't know, more apt to eating healthy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go home and make some zuppa toscana, actually.
Zuppa Toscana.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nope,
From Olive Garden?
no idea.
It's like the potato sausage kale soup.
Ooh, sounds good. I'm not a soup guy, but
Oh, I fucking love soup. I got all this stuff yesterday because it was like raining. I wanted to be cozy, and then we didn't make it. And now I'm
yeah.
gonna go home and it's gonna be hot and humid. I actually might push it tomorrow because I think Will and I are gonna go to the Boston FC game tonight.
Ooh, very fun. Very fun. Sally's doing, beer for dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next one.
Mhm.
Hey, gang. I'm going to a college football game of which I'm a fan of neither team. As a generic white guy in his late 20s, shouts, as am I, I'm between a game day polo of my alma mater with a team hat or nondescript polo and nondescript hat. My team is in the same conference and will also be playing that day. What is the move for game day outfits? Keep in mind the home team is a top 5 program and the fan base is chirpy. What are you looking for in game day fits, Sally?
I don't I don't think you
I think that's inviting chirps. And
Mhm.
unless, like, if you're built different, if you're built for that kind of stuff, I'm just picturing SEC, obviously.
Yeah.
And if you're at a Bama game and they're playing, you know, Southern Miss in a non-conference matchup, and you're wearing an Ole Miss hat, like, you're inviting chirps.
I I don't understand this from people. Like, if you're not a fan
Mhm.
of either of the two teams that are going, I mean, that are playing, but you're going to the game anyway. Like, great. Happy for you. College football's fun. Love it.
Yeah.
Why are you wearing other shit? I'm not saying that you need to like throw on an Alabama jersey, but like don't be wearing your LSU shit to the game.
Right.
That only, first of all, is going to piss people off, and second of all, people are gonna be like, "Why the fuck is he here?"
I get it, and people do it all the time. It happens at hockey games. It happens at
Yeah.
baseball games. You see a guy there in like a Yankee game in a Cardinals like jersey or hat, and I'm not saying you don't do it. That's crazy, but I've never understood it. I
The
guess.
only time that I think that this is acceptable, and even then I'm kind of like whatever,
Okay.
is like during the College World Series or like NCAA March Madness.
There's
When there's like a lot of
teams, yeah.
games and maybe you went to support your team or other tournaments, whatever. And you're there,
neutral site, right?
Neutral site,
Yeah.
but you're just enjoying the games because
Mm-hmm.
that's what you're there for. It's a tournament. But like, why are you showing up to the UT Alabama game in like your TCU shit? It just honestly, to me, I'm like, first of all, like, don't you have another game? Which they do.
Mm-hmm.
He said that his team is playing at the same time.
Damn.
And I'm like, you don't care about your team enough to sit there at home and watch it, but you're gonna come here and then wear your shit. Like, no one is proud of you for supporting TCU at the Alabama-Texas game.
Sounds like he's getting chirped.
I
would
don't know
go
that I would
nondescript.
call anybody out for that, but I'd be like, look at that idiot over there.
I'd just be rocking.
So I think you go nondescript.
I think you do too. I think you rock a rowback and, insert golf club here, logo hat, and just do it that way. Don't invite somebody pouring beer down your back
or
because
just like
they get
being
too
a
drunk
dick
in
to
the
you
fourth
for no
quarter.
reason.
Yeah.
And then it can be more fun because like then you can cheer for one of the teams if you want to.
Yeah. Put a responsible wager down on one of the teams and cheer for them.
Yeah.
Maybe if you really want to, like, if you're into the chirpy thing, pick the away team.
Yeah.
Of the home stadium you're at.
Don't be a douche. No offense.
That's just a good general rule as well.
General, don't be a douche.
Even if you wear a nondescript polo and nondescript hat and 5-inch inseam khaki shorts, like I'm sure this is going to happen. Just don't be a douche.
Yeah.
Last one, Sally. Ready?
Crush that.
You, Brett, and Sally. We are planning my batch party in Vegas. Wondering where you and the boys stayed / if you'd recommend. Vegas, Sally.
I'm like a little offended that this was only sent to you.
I have to be honest with you. This was a DM I got
on
Instagram that I put
I'll
in
let
here
it slide.
and forgot to edit.
Okay, I'll let that slide.
That's on me.
How many times have you been to Vegas, bro?
Once.
Okay. Yeah.
How many times have you been to Vegas, Sally?
Like 10.
Double digits.
And my mom has been 10 times this year already.
Oh my gosh.
Probably.
Love it.
Okay, first of all, I think it totally depends on, y'all stayed at the Bellagio.
We did.
Correct?
We did Bellagio and split between Bellagio and Cosmo, I believe.
Right. I think that Will and some other people stayed at the Cosmo because at the time that was Jules's haunt.
Ooh, has that changed?
I think she's a Wynn girl now.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, I wonder if there was like a
No.
behind
The
the scenes.
Cosmo was owned by Marriott, parent
really?
company, and they got sold. And
Got
my
it. Okay.
parents are big Marriott people.
Points people.
They have like just from like traveling a bunch.
Shouts
and
to intern Klein.
stuff.
Big
Mhm.
Marriott points.
Yeah. Klein and I have traded some codes.
What? Share with the class, please.
Yeah. The issue is that when you use them, you have to check in like
Yes.
you
Yes.
with the codes.
Mhm.
But I do. Klein and I both appreciate like a good courtyard, you know?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Who among us doesn't? Okay. Before my parents were Cosmo people, they were big Venetian Palazzo people.
Okay.
I have stayed there. I've stayed at the Wynn. I've stayed at the Cosmo. Have I stayed at the Bellagio? I think I've stayed at the Bellagio.
Yeah.
All of them have their merits. Okay.
Mhm. I don't think you can go wrong. Honestly.
You can't really go wrong.
Unless you like really try to unless you really try to like budget your way through Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what I will say is, from what I remember, Palazzo / Venetian, Wynn and Encore, and Cosmo all have like pretty decently sized rooms, especially with like little like living room areas. So you can cram like 3 or 4 people in those.
Oh, yeah.
Like whenever I've done a bachelorette party or something, we've done 4 girls to a room, like
Mhm.
2 beds, 2 girls in each bed, and it's, like, pretty roomy for, like, 4 girls who bring a ton of shit, have to get ready, have makeup, all that stuff.
Sure.
So for the most part, even if it feels like you're spending a little bit more money maybe to stay at the Wynn, most of those rooms are pretty big, so
Mhm.
you're maybe better off. You also kind of have to think about where on the Strip you wanna be.
Okay.
So, in my opinion, you can obviously get around using Ubers and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Uber didn't exist in, Las Vegas
Yeah.
for, like, a long time, which was
Notorious,
really
like,
annoying.
walking city before the
But
advent of
here's
Uber.
the sneaky thing about Vegas, though.
Okay.
Because everything's so big, when you see it, you're like, "Oh, that's, like, right there. Oh, we'll just walk to Caesars."
Nope.
And then you are, like, a mile in, you're like, "What the this is taking so long." And it's
Oh,
because it looks like it's closer than
I
it
know,
is.
and it's so hot, and I get shit. Randy would love going to Vegas all the time because you walk everywhere, like, miles upon miles of walk if you want.
I think if you a lot it's easy in Vegas to kinda stay on your end of the shit. So that's
Mhm.
why I mostly from experience really like the end of the strip that's like the Wynn, Encore, Palazzo, right there.
Mhm.
I think, what is across the street?
Is
The
it Aria?
Mirage is right there. Um, and mostly, like, if you're planning on doing, like, a day party at Encore Beach Club and then you're going out to
Yeah.
whatever restaurant, it's nice to kinda keep it
Keep it
in one
within
area.
that, yeah.
But
Yeah.
that being said, again, that doesn't really matter now because Uber exists.
Right.
But, like, I also Cosmo's great because 'cause you're right next to the Bellagio, and that's, like, a fun area of the
It's a
Strip.
really good central spot to be.
I've never personally stayed at Mandalay Bay or MGM.
No, I know
We've gone
I
to
know
MGM for
people
stuff.
love the Aria.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Aria's close to Cosmo.
yep,
All of that's, like, right there too. So that's
really
a good
good
area
casino there too.
because you can, like, walk around you can definitely walk between Cosmo, Bellagio,
Mhm.
Aria.
Yeah.
Um, I have been to MGM for stuff. I haven't stayed at the MGM.
Mhm.
That's, like, on the other side of the
Yeah,
strip,
it's sneaky a
and I think you
little
get
ways
kinda
away.
stuck out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and he asked if we stayed at the Bellagio, and I would recommend it. It was fun. It was a blast. Like their casino, it's not like popping off like the Cosmos is and
Mhm.
Aria's is popping off and yeah, you can kinda pick whatever you wanna pick with if strip clubs or golf, as
Yeah.
long as things are, like, organized, like, I wouldn't go there and try to find a tea time on Saturday morning if you're trying to
Yeah.
golf because it's expensive, 1, very hard to get out to public courses, 2, and just there's more fun stuff to do downtown if you haven't had something, like, set up weeks and weeks and weeks in
Right.
advance. But, yeah, I'd recommend, uh Bellagio, I'd recommend Aria, I'd recommend the steakhouse we did, Lavo, I think it was called. If you wanna do a pool party, obviously there's those, just careful with covers and stuff like that. But, I mean, it's Vegas, like
I think as a young person, I think that the Cosmo's, like, a little bit more of a vibe.
'kay,
Like, Palazzo is, like, a lot of dudes watching Fox News, okay? I'm just gonna call a spade a spade.
got it,
When we have stayed there, like, you're not hanging out in that casino. You're probably going over to the Wynn.
got it.
I think my best vibes for casino are, like, probably the Wynn or the Cosmo or maybe the Aria.
Okay.
Um, I'm not as familiar, although I have been in that casino, but I feel like that's more like the age, especially Cosmo, like people you're gonna be around.
Yeah, Cosmo really that's a
But
great spot.
again, with all of that being said, like if you're over at the Win, every hand you play, like at the very minimum, is gonna be $25.
Yep.
So that can get a little expensive. It's definitely like a good place to like be around bachelorette parties.
Mhm.
One of my tips, especially if you like really want to gamble, is to like go to Old Town Vegas
Oh, okay.
where you can play like $5 hands and it's
That's,
really fun.
what's that the Irish one? O'Brien's or something like that?
I don't know. We always did the Golden Nugget.
I think it was near that, but it wasn't the Golden
Yeah.
Nugget.
We would do that for a couple hours, which is really fun.
Mhm.
Um, but I would say Winter Cosmo. That's based on personal experience.
Okay.
I
How
think
about
that
does
that crowd usually mimics like that's where I see a lot. I mean, maybe I see a lot of them because I'm on one and we're staying at the Cosmo.
was there a sports book there
Where?
at the Wynn?
At the Win there
I
is.
think there is, right?
There's definitely one at the Cosmo.
Mhm.
We used to go too. during March Madness go to like Legacy Stadium, and they shut it down during the pandemic.
Oh,
It's a bummer.
too bad.
It was like all, like stadium seating, like with like couches and
Oh, yeah.
stuff. It was actually really fun, but they shut it down.
Sounds tight. Yeah, I mean, it's Vegas. Like, you can't go wrong. Well, yeah, you probably can go
I
really
mean,
wrong, but
I'm gonna say this: the one that looks like a castle. I don't know what that one's called. Like yes, Excalibur.
where did Randy go? Where'd you go? The Flamingo?
Some of these
Flamingo.
ones, like I think we went to Thunder from Down Under at Excalibur.
Gotcha.
You're like walking in and like people are like legitimately on oxygen and like on their deathbed. Like
Yeah.
that's not the vibe personally that I want for a bachelorette party. Um like if you look over and Nana, who's 98, is like huffing her oxygen whilst simultaneously smoking a cigarette, which
She's
by the way is like a really bad idea because you could definitely
blow
ignite
yourself
that.
up. You know what though? Nana died doing what she loves.
Yeah. But like that is like, oh, okay. Like it's I, that's a vibe. It's just not the one that I want, you know?
My God. I'm just picturing like a Curbed skit where Nana's been in the same slot chair for like 40 years.
Yeah.
Larry David walks by and like hits her chair and her cigarette
And
falls.
she dies.
She's like, oh,
this
shit.
is an unsolicited advice though. Get the first flight out of Vegas on Sunday morning. Get the fuck out of there. Do not stick around till 1. Don't get on the 1 p.m. flight. No. Your flight will get delayed. And the Vegas airport sucks. Famously.
It's not great.
You get like the pre 9 a.m. flight.
Oh.
It's rough.
Well, yeah,
but you would rather be hungover in your bed than like waiting around in the Vegas airport.
This is one of those
till 6 p.m.
mail-in court topics that we have to do because I totally disagree.
No.
I am like, sit there on Sunday, take your time getting out.
No.
Have a beverage.
First of all, if you're flying Southwest, you must get the first flight out.
You also have to remember to check in or your C39.
No, well, that's why you buy early bird check-in. You just like let them do it for you.
Gotcha.
Southwest, famously,
mm-hmm.
Especially in Vegas, their flight, like as the day goes on, their flights get more and more delayed because the pilots like hit their time limit for shit.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then you will not leave there. Like it will be the end of you.
Oh yeah.
When Will and I first started DMing, we first started DMing, I was stuck in the Vegas airport till like 8 p.m. And I was like, never again.
Oh God.
Never again. You do not want the Sunday Scaries hitting while you're in the fucking Vegas airport. You got to get out of there.
It's tough.
Get there on a Thursday morning. Get the fuck out on Sunday morning.
The Saturday night, like
don't take the red eye. You don't need to take the red eye. Take a 9 a.m. flight.
That's hot in the streets right now. I don't like that.
No,
because then you're thinking about it.
No,
and then you're hammered.
You don't. No. You give yourself enough time. You wake up very, very violently hungover at 7 a.m. You get to the airport. You get on the flight. You have one Bloody Mary on the flight. You get home to your bed by noon. That is the deal.
I think mine's a personal issue where I can't nap. I don't like getting in my bed in the middle of the afternoon. I'm just not that guy, pal.
Okay.
I can't do it. I'll just be sitting on my couch like I could have been in Vegas right now.
But like you're not enjoying that last day in Vegas.
If it's a nice airport, I enjoy the heck out of just sitting in.
And the Vegas airport is awful.
It's not nice.
It's awful.
Detroit, big shouts. Austin, great airport to sit in for a while.
Yeah, Austin's not a bad airport.
Atlanta sucks. I have to do that tomorrow. I'm going to Myrtle Beach tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we currently have a 3-hour layover in Detroit, and I
see great airport to have a delay or a layover. I guess.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled about it, but I was like,
go to the beer garden down by gate 1 or gate 69 or whatever it is. Nice. That'll do it for the mail-in. You have fun, Sally?
Had a great time.
Please subscribe. Rate 5 stars. Review and tell a friend about the podcast. Hit the hotline number 888-362-MAIL. That's 888-362-6245. Or you can write in at the link in the Twitter bio at Mail-In Podcast. Sally, where can the people find you?
On Sally deFries on Instagram and Twitter.
On SallyDeFries.com. I am Brett Merriman at Schmerriman on both of those platforms. That's Randy Trembacki on the ones and twos. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Sally. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.